Hey y'all. I just wanted to jump on here real quick to give you this book review. So it's gonna be a short one. We're gonna get right on into it. So the book is called The Forgotten Road by Richard Paul Evans. And this is the cover of the book, minus the scribble marks. My grandbaby got a hold of my book while I was reading it and decided to leave his mark on this book. So nice cover minus the scribble marks. Okay, there you go. The story is about Charles James Gonzalez, who created the Charles James Wealth Seminar Company. Charles became a very wealthy businessman, but has had some deficits in other areas of his life. Charles wasn't in a good life space when his life was spared. Everyone thinks he died on the plane with all the other occupants, but he wasn't aboard the plane when it crashed. Now, you're going to have to figure out how he finagled not to be on the plane when it crashed. Since everybody thinks he's dead, one could look at that as divine intervention, luck, destiny, however you believe. Charles took this opportunity at escaping death as a sign to do some self examination. Charles decided he was going to walk Route 66 from Chicago to California. Yes, the Route 66 highway. He was going to walk it. Hmm. Now, he believes his previous dreams have led him to this path, and well, he's up for the challenge and willing to take it now. This story was written in like a diary slash journal form. The chapters are short. We are given a glimpse of the experiences and encounters and retrospect that Charles has along this journey. And this is literally what the book is about. I mean, that's what the book is about. It's about his journey on this Route 66 walk. Okay, so we're going to see who he encounters and we're going to see some experiences that he has. There's a lot of interesting factoids that I didn't research to determine the validity of. It was just kind of interesting while reading it. This would make a good like side guide if one were ever to want to do this. Now, Charles walked, like 2 feet walked, which was interesting in itself because who is walking from state to state alone anymore? The copyright of this book is 2018. So, I mean, it's not like within the last couple of years. But even so, um, who's walking the highway nowadays? If you don't have to, okay? So this was clearly his choice to do so. So that was, yeah, kind of interesting. That you would make that choice. There were dangers for sure. Just getting out of Chicago and navigating St. Louis, I would think that in itself would probably turn me right back around. So the fact that no one would be looking for you because they believed you were already dead would make this trek even more scary, in my opinion, because no one's looking for you. Like, it'd be different if you just up and did this and didn't tell anybody, and then you didn't show up for work, you're not answering your phone, no one has seen you for a period of time, then probably people would start looking for you. But if they think you're dead and you're not, and you don't tell anybody that you're not dead, and you decide to go on this walk, well, if something happens to you, well, they already think you're dead. So no one's looking for you. No one's coming to the rescue. So there are a couple of encounters worth mentioning. One was with a man that claimed he had an encounter with God that was very interesting. This guy, they had a conversation and he kind of gave an explanation or perspective of how God works or how faith and belief works, and kind of relayed his experience, and imparted some words of wisdom to Charles. There was also an experience with farm workers. It kind of showed how they were treated and oftentimes the deplorable conditions in which they live, the meager wages, just the physically taxing work that they did for pennies on the dollar. There was also some other encounters where people felt that they didn't have many options or didn't feel that they had the ability to choose a different path to make their lives better, or the fear of change and not knowing whether or not that change would be making their life better, more difficult. People that he encountered, some of them wanted a better life, but unfortunately, circumstances did not have them in a better position in life the time that he met. There is violence mentioned and religious commentary. The story contains some thought provoking revelations, perspectives, and thoughts. One is talking about forgiveness. There's an excerpt from the book that says, true understanding often opens the door to forgiveness. My thought kind of on that section of this book was, can one like completely and fully forgive something that they don't understand? Or is it a person attempting to forgive so that they can forget and move on? It's often said that forgiveness is for the one giving it, not necessarily for the one receiving it. So, is the forgiveness given to release the giver of the forgiveness from the emotional attachment to whatever happened? So yeah, that section kind of made you think, like, really, if you don't understand what you're forgiving, are you truly fully forgiving, or are you just trying to release yourself from the mental and emotional hold that that event or circumstance has in your life? So yeah, food for that there. And then there was another one about spending habits, like a person that came from meager beginnings and did not have financial wealth, and then they come into financial wealth. Do they tend to spend almost frivolously on the most expensive things just because they can now? So, like, if you got money, like if you won the lottery, and maybe not the, $20 million lottery, maybe like the $1 or $2 million lottery. Are you gonna go out and buy a whole bunch of expensive stuff just because you can now? Or are you going to be um, financially responsible and get the things that you need to make your life better, but not necessarily just blow your money just because you have it to blow? And then the kind of dynamics of financial literacy of a person that comes from wealth versus a person that doesn't come from wealth. So, yeah, that's a topic that you can discuss. We ain't even got there yet, but yeah, discuss that. So I did find out that this is the second book of the series. The previous book is called The Broken Road, and then this book, The Forgotten Road, and then the third book is The Road Home. Now, this is a standalone book, though. Like, I had no idea what happened before this book, but I didn't feel lost. It was just okay. We're talking about a time in this person's life. I didn't feel like I'm missing something to make the pieces connect. Didn't feel that at all. So that is why I felt it's a standalone book. You don't have to read the previous book to figure out what's going on in this one. I'm interested in seeing what happens next for Charles. I it did kind of leave with a cliffhanger type ending, so I do want to know what happens next for Charles. So I'm gonna try and get the next book and see how all of this shakes out. There are no discussion questions in the book. I already gave you one topic or a couple topics already to discuss, but you could discuss what it would feel like to read your obituary or attend your own wake or funeral. Who do you think would attend your funeral or wake? And who do you think would cut up the most? Who amongst them would just act a fool? Okay. If you wrote your own obituary, what would it say? Have you made end of life plans and arrangements so your loved ones won't have to have that responsibility during their time of grief? Are your assets secure if you were to become incapacitated? Do you think Charles made the right decision for his assets? Why or why not? Could you survive on $125 per day budget when traveling? Does working out, yoga, walking, exercise in general, does that help you clear your mindset? You could definitely dissect and talk about each of Charles's experiences along the way with the people that he encountered. What would you do the same, different, or what do you think is going to happen in the next book pertaining to possibly those experiences and encounters? So, those are some things that you could definitely talk about. In the book, there might be some other things that you could discuss for sure. Depends on if you want to take a deep dive or just keep it surface level and chill. So, Libby has this book under the genre of romance and fiction. Now, I don't know where the romance came from. I don't know why they would put this book under there. Look, it was not that for me. Goodreads has this book under Christian fiction, travel, and inspirational. Now, I would agree with that. This story is moderate paced. It is a good literary palate cleanser, but also gives you some food for thought if you choose to kind of, marinate on some substantial things that are touched on along this journey. I enjoyed this journey and want to know what happens next for Charles, and that is why I gave this a 7.5, almost 8 out of 10. If you haven't read the book, go ahead and get it and tell me what your thoughts are. If you have already read the book, go ahead, let me know what you think as well. And thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead, click that like, subscribe, and share button. I definitely appreciate all the newcomers that have subscribed. I appreciate it. I hope you are enjoying the content, and I hope you are sharing with others about this channel. So that is it for this round. And as always, until next time, keep turning the pages, my book lovers.